All right, here we go. We're back again with another storyteller certified Istwa moment. And today we're blessed to have not only, but friend, creative, all about to become partner, but family member, Lucien Severe. That's him. That's him. But let me just dive into why I decided to do this show, a little bit about him, and then we're just going to get rolling. Storytelling comes natural to me because of my Haitian background. In Haiti, storytelling has long been fostered as communication and teaching. With each storyteller passing down tales of folklore from one generation to the next, our culture shares the journey through the past, present, future, and experiences of life. During the pandemic, I launched this passion project called Storyteller Certified. Brand paired with producing videos and stories of purpose to educate, inspire lives. And so it was a passion project that got birthed into what we're doing today, sharing these stories. They're enlightened discussions that celebrate the rich tapestry of the human experience, explore how our cultural roots, career paths intertwine and it shapes us of our identities and the purpose that we have in life. The discussions are our lifestyle, cultures, differences, understandings, misunderstandings, parent perceptions, expectations of kids, careers, life plans, and more. But today we're blessed to have my cousin, Lucien Severe Jr. He's not a Q, he's an alpha. So I had to put that out the disclaimer early for you black and gold that are watching. I know y'all excited, but that's my man. He's part of the D9 family. Junior is a lifestyle photographer. He's passionate about capturing authentic moments, storytelling through natural light and candid compositions. Founder of Severe Focus Photography with a keen eye for detail and a love for documenting real life connections. Severe Focus Photography specializes in family, couples, branding, travel, and more.
Yes.
Creating timeless, emotive imagery. Severe Focus Photography brings warm creativity and a personal touch to every moment. Graduated HBCU from Lincoln University, PA, a member again of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Haitian household bringing, pledged at University of Lincoln University, but we ain't gonna say pledge. He was initiated because we don't want
Yeah.
New Jersey. Is a proud father of two sons. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my cousin, my
Yes, yes, yes.
Junior Severe.
What's up, my cousin Cousin? What's up? Ça passe?
Man, I'm great. Listen, I'm not doing any justice by by reading your bio. I want to do justice by you saying more about who you are and actually what you do and how you got started in this business.
Oh man, let's see, let's see. Well, like you said, I appreciate the introduction. I appreciate you for having me on the show. I have to be honest, I never thought I would be doing a podcast with a Q, but here we are. Uh, nah, I'm just joking. That's my cousin. Love you, fam. I'm proud of what you're doing. You definitely inspire me. In terms of my photography, it's been a long time coming. I've always had an eye growing up, right? So, and I have vivid memory. Two passions of mine growing up, I could tell you. One was comedy. I had a brief stint.
Yeah,
It
we know.
was sixth grade, Mrs. Colander's class, South Orange Middle School. That's that's how much I remember. And my left hand side of me was Kareem McBride, and Miss Colander was talking to both of us, and then she was like, Lucian, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, a comedian, and Richard Pryor was always my favorite idol, growing up.
Let me
Um,
exit real quick. I ain't cutting you off, but mind you, he a funny dude, so don't get it twisted.
definitely, definitely, definitely. And then fast forward to Columbia High School. I believe I was a sophomore, and it was correct me if I'm saying it wrong, because it's so old and outdated.
Mhm.
The light room, was it, or was it the dark room?
What's that? Are you talking? Oh, the room where you for photography?
Develop, yeah,
Dark room, dark room.
dark room, dark room.
Yeah,
So then I fell in love with photography, man,
yeah.
and I always had an eye. That's one thing. I always had an eye. I was always nice with posing, right?
Mhm.
We'd gather a group of friends and be like, pose this way, position yourself
Right.
this way, right? So then fast forward to Lincoln, you know, Lincoln University, right, where I was initiated. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, new
Yeah, he had
chapter.
to say that over again.
Of course, of course. So anyway, I used to walk around with the CNN recorder. I had that all the time. Either I was recording events or taking pictures.
Capturing stories.
Exactly,
Right.
capturing stories, right? And so then I always had this fervor for just photography. I was like, man, I love capturing moments and candid moments at that, right? And so because I would take pictures and people would come back and look at the pictures like, yo, when did you take that? Because I was like a ninja. I was like sneaky. I was just taking pictures without you even knowing, right? So
That's
then,
that's college. And I know, and I don't mean to cut you off. That's
yeah,
college. I
sure.
know you actually went into a career, and then it wasn't until like later
In
on
life. Exactly.
you actually picked up a camera and actually started really shooting, and people started
Exactly.
taking notice of that, right?
Exactly. Because I feel like, once you have kids, and it sounds like a cliche,
Yeah.
you do kind of put your dreams aside.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
it
Normal.
becomes on the go ahead.
No, I said normal. That's normal.
Yeah, and that's just a unselfish trait as a parent, right?
Hmm.
You take care of your kids come first, the family comes first. And so each year was like AAU, basketball, this, that, then after a while I'm like, man, I really want to invest in a camera. Then one year I just said, you know what, the hell with it. And I bet on myself.
I
I
not
purchased
shoot.
a camera. I looked up classes. I took
Yeah. Oh,
classes.
oh, let me take you back. I remember when you hit me up. We actually came. Remember, I came to New York. You
Mhm.
wanted to do a shoot because the guy thinks he's a fly guy, but trust me, you see his pictures, the brother's smooth, and
I
we did
mean, thanks,
a shoot
brother.
together. And then you like literally, he was like, "Hey, cuz man, I've been thinking about doing some shit." And you know me, I'm objected to just sharing the culture of
True,
photography and creativity.
true,
I
true.
camera, shoot, you got questions, let me know. But
Exactly.
let y'all know something. When this dude started shooting, and he's taking a slow time to get there, when he started shooting, I noticed immediately, he had an eye.
Thanks, brother. I
Right or
appreciate it.
wrong.
I
Right or
appreciate
wrong.
it, man.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say about Don is that so fast forward when I finally invested in myself, I purchased the camera, the
Yeah.
lens,
Yeah.
and so also I surrounded myself around people who cared about me and who was willing to educate me,
That's
right?
all part of it. Yeah.
Because when you surround yourself around gatekeepers, it
Yeah.
stagnates your growth,
Uh,
right?
and we all got him.
Exactly. And so Don was just like unselfish. He wasn't a gatekeeper. You know, he watched me grow. And it's funny too because Don don't incorporate himself with nonsense, right? And so you got to be about your business, right? And so then fast forward, Don finally was like, we could do business together.
Hey,
But
listen,
I guess,
I'm always paying attention to talent.
yeah,
And one of the reasons why I pay attention to talent for me, my kids told me this. I was directing this music video a couple of years ago, and
yeah,
they was like, "Dad, you really good with noticing who's people." And it's just been one of the things that I love doing. And plus, I
yeah,
like having and knowing that people are in different parts of the country that I travel to. So if I'm
yeah.
working there, and we can get business together, like we got business coming up.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question, man. Like, because Istwa is about family and the Haitian culture. How did your cultural background basically influence you on your perspectives today? I mean, we grew up in some
Yeah,
interesting Haitian households. Has
yeah.
any of our upbringing, like when we was youngsters, influenced you in your perspective on that? How do you utilize it with today?
Oh, definitely. Growing up in a Haitian household, man, like I had both my parents. I was fortunate to have
Yeah.
both parents. My
Oh, and
mom.
mind you, Uncle Lucian and Aunt Mary are the best.
Shout out to my parents. Lucian and Marie
Minus the
Spear.
beans he used to get, but they're the best.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? So it was such a strict upbringing.
Yeah.
Because coming from a household of two Haitian immigrants, right?
Hmm.
Their perception on life was my child will not fail. I
Yep.
want you to be great, right?
Yep.
And sometimes that would become a challenge for me because, like, I remember growing up, I feel like my household was so strict, I couldn't be who I wanted to be in terms
Mhm.
of like expressing myself, right?
Right. Right.
Because if I wore a certain brand or dressed a certain way, it was perceived as, vagabond, and that
You.
means a bum
Yeah. Yeah.
in
You.
Creole.
You a bum. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And so my parents was protecting, you know, me and my three sisters from being bums, right?
Right. And that was all
But
households. I mean,
it
remember,
was, it
your
was.
his dad, your dad is my mom's sister. So
Yes,
they households were in tandem together,
yes,
where it's like it's a strict role. They ordering special belts from Haiti to beat you because they
exactly.
just keep you in line. You don't fall off the train and become a vagabond. You know what I'm
Back
saying?
if Amazon was around back then, that belt would come the next day. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Dude,
it
do you
was just
remember us coming to Spring Valley and whenever people come to visit, you had to come downstairs and line up to say hello and unblast them,
yes,
unblast them.
exactly,
I was like,
exactly.
we in the military or we in
Because it
America?
was all about respect,
That's
respect,
right. That's right.
respect.
Let me ask you a question. Any misunderstandings or misconceptions about growing up? Like you said, we already understand. They was like, we don't want you to become a vagabond. But what
Yeah.
misconceptions or misunderstandings in our culture it's still part of like shaping us who you are, but your misconceptions about growing up Haitian.
I mean, you know what? I think it goes back to discipline, right?
Hmm.
Because because I feel like I incorporated some of my parents' upbringing, right? Morals and values.
Yeah.
I inherited a little bit and I incorporated, you know, how I raise my kids, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like not every, like, I guess, shortcomings deserved a beating, right?
Yeah.
You know, because, but I will say that it helped mold me the man I am today,
Yeah.
right?
You beat your kids?
I used to. I used to.
As you can
I,
see the way his eyes shifted left and right.
I used to, but then I stopped because I feel
Yeah.
like this. I feel like my dad instilled fear in my heart, right?
Hmm.
And so I don't want to, with my sons, I don't want to be just a person that you fear. I want to be your best friend. I want to be your friend. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I don't want to be looked at upon as, oh, that's dad, and
Right.
that's it.
But
He pays my
did
bills.
that fear shift over to also understanding a bit of respect? Even though we understand, we did fear them growing up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but okay. Well, I say this right. Fear did help mold me, right?
Right,
Because when I was at Lincoln, I'm first generation to graduate college,
right.
right?
Hmm.
And so you know, there was a moment where I was introduced to weed, right? And so as I grabbed the blunt,
Hmm.
I kind of put it down. I didn't smoke it because I just envisioned my dad on the roof, draped in the Haitian flag, rifle in his hand,
Thanks.
waiting to just shoot the blunt out of my hand, right?
We kept mad Haitian kids in school to be able to get to graduate.
Exactly. Exactly, right? And so then
Right,
I'm like, I'm good, right?
right.
And I guess later in life, I had explored on my own. But like
Yeah,
in terms of college, I just saw my dad, I just saw my parents, and I didn't want to let
right.
them. I feel like I was letting them down. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a good thing. Listen,
No,
and
that's a great thing.
you don't even know this, but when I was at state, cats was selling weed.
Yeah. Mm,
So they was like, yo, you want to be the weed transporter, man? I was like,
yeah.
how much y'all gonna make? They was like 1,000. I said, okay, I'll do it.
Ooh.
Like a fool. So I went to this meeting, all these dreadlock cats up in there. And I'm like, word, I'm about to make this money, thinking it was
Yeah.
simple, not thinking about the repercussions of getting arrested and your
Of
life just
course.
ends. So I remember that night I went to this weird meeting. There was all these rosters in there. I came home. My mom called the house phone and was like, because you ain't had no cell phone. She was like, what you
Yeah.
doing down there for the summer? I was like, oh, just chilling. Some school almost over. She was like, okay, all right. And you know, Haitians have dreams. She
Yes.
was,
They. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
she was like,
They
well,
do.
I had a dream. And that's it. Dude, I got off the phone the dream alone
Yes,
scared me. I
as you
called
should.
homeboys and was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
y'all come over here and pick up y'all Gap business, all whatever it is. I'm good. I don't want to have nothing to do with it."
No, no.
Crazy thing is, fast forward, the cat that I was in school with ended up getting locked up and never finished.
Wow. See,
So we look at these moments, like you said, like we look at these moments as
like
strict as
it's
our
like
parents were, and
they meant well.
yeah, they didn't want us to shift from side to side, but they
No,
meant
no,
well.
they
And
did.
we got stories for the rest of our lives about
We
how our
do.
parents
Oh,
disciplined us, but they shaped us and molded us to who we
exactly.
are, right?
They did. They did. They did.
Yeah.
And like I said before, like I chose to, I chose to inherit certain teachings, from
Hmm.
my parents,
Yeah.
and then, pour down to my kids.
Yeah.
And even my son, who will be 18 next month, my oldest son, I have
Yeah.
soon to be 18-year-old and a 11-year-old who turns 12
Right.
this year. And we're the best of friends. And he told me, he was like, "Dad, I used to dislike you when you used to beat me, but now I understand."
That's a good
And it
thing.
wasn't, excessive, you
Yep.
know. And after a while, I'm like, man, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I do think, me personally, I do think it's needed,
Yeah.
because you have some kids, who will try to run your parents,
That
and
relationship goes so deep, man.
it does.
And I'm so happy you said that because when my son came to live with me, it was a rough patch. We were going
Yeah,
at it all the time, not going at it like, fighting or anything,
of
just
course.
going
Yeah,
at it where it's like the disagreements because he didn't want to follow what dad was saying,
of
but I
course. You don't
ran a
want to adhere to
strict
the
ship
rules. I
in my
get it.
house.
Smell
And
himself.
fast forward, he's frat now.
Yeah.
He's the cute.
Okay. Legacy.
And my
Okay.
legacy.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Now that we sit down and have conversations as a young adult, now he tells me, man, I appreciate all those nights, all those days,
Yeah.
the whooping I got,
Yeah.
discipline and what you did in school, because
Yeah.
for him, he's like, it took so long, but he understands and he sees it. And that's all you really want your kids to do.
Exactly.
It
And
just
and
understand it.
and I will say this before I forget.
Mhm.
So growing up in a Haitian household, in my Haitian household, right?
Right.
I feel like I didn't have a voice,
Yeah. Nah, you
because
ain't got no voice.
yeah, because
You ain't did
everything
no
was
voice.
like, we did, because everything was based on respect. And if you say something, right, if you had an opinion, if you voice yourself, if you were vocal, it would be looked upon as disrespect, a back talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, come downstairs to eat. I'm not hungry. What? I said come downstairs to eat. You know what I'm
Better go
saying?
eat.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Do you find that with like, let me ask you a question. You Gen X, I'm Gen X. Do
yeah.
you have that authority over your kids in a little bit of a way? Like what similarities do you see that you have that are similar to your parents in your coaching style with your kids?
Mm, discipline, order, you know, always having order in my house,
Yeah.
right? Routine,
Yeah.
right? I feel like I will say that my kids are allowed to talk. They're allowed to have their opinion, right? As long as it's respectful,
Yeah.
right? You know
Well,
what I'm saying? Like,
it's similar.
exactly. So
It's similar.
it is, but you know, I don't look at it upon as, you know what? Okay, perfect example. One time I was in my parents' house, and then I was talking to my kids, right? And then my oldest was like, it was either my youngest or my oldest was like, "Bro, chill," right? To me, right? And we were just like having a good time. And my dad was like, he looked
Whoa.
at me sideways. He was like, "Oh, what
You
is
let
this
him
chill?"
talk to you like that?
Like, doctor.
Bruh.
My dad had this long hour conversation with me about my kids are running me. And I was like, bruh, stop. I almost called him bruh. I almost said, bruh, chill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm like,
That's a huge difference with us
it
growing up.
is.
No way we
No.
was gonna say, bruh,
Yeah.
bro, to
Yeah.
any Haitian. It would have instituted a beating immediately.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
like
Definitely.
it's because you saying that. Like me, and my daughter, son, I actually don't take offense to it, but we have a conversation before I get around my parents. I'm like, look,
Yes, yes,
talking
yes, yes,
that in here.
bro,
Because they gonna start
bro.
looking at me sideways. The other day, my daughter was like, "Bro," and starts telling me about her day. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not telling you to act a certain way around,
Yeah,
but we gonna have to sanction that just a little bit."
bro. It's so true because I told my kids I was like, all right, so we're pulling up to Papa's house and Nanny's house. Don't say bro. Don't say this. And they look
Right,
at me like, come on, man.
right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
It's just funny,
Yeah,
to me.
let me ask you another question, man, because
Mhm.
no, we talked about similarities, which is hilarious to you.
Yeah, yeah.
But did you ever have like incidents? You have a story about food,
Oh
Haitian
yeah. Oh
versus
yeah, big time.
because when I was in grade school, we ain't never had pancakes. We ain't got no
Yeah,
pancakes in the
yeah,
Haitian house.
yeah.
So the first time we had a pancake day, they put out the pancakes. Pancakes lay on my plate. It's a table. I've noticed people looking at me. I'm like eating this dry pancake,
Oh damn.
and then Amber goes, "You not gonna put syrup on that?" And I was like, "No, that's how we eat it." Knowing dang well that's not. So you got any stories of like where you ain't understand? Like even Emily was telling me, we cook full chicken. We bake.
Yes, pull. Yeah.
She got to her boyfriend's house. They have fried chicken. She was like, "What
Mm.
fried chicken?"
You
Like,
know what?
yeah,
You know what? I say this. I always loved being Haitian, right?
yeah,
And but I had a moment in life where I wasn't ashamed, but it was just a challenge because we used to get it all the time in terms of like, the name calling, right? And this and
right,
that.
yeah. Haitian
And,
Creole should go back to your nation.
yeah, HBO, Haitian
Ratchet,
body order, Haitian
HBO, all of that.
pressure, yeah.
Yeah,
So, you know, my parents, they were pretty much Americanized, but like growing up, man, I'm gonna say in elementary school, right?
mm,
So if it was someone's birthday, right?
yeah,
Cupcakes, a birthday cake.
mm,
My mom, man, those Haitian pots, the beat up
yeah,
rice pots.
yeah.
She brought that in. It was red beans and rice, man,
He was
and
embarrassed.
griot, and griot.
Yeah,
And it was predominantly white. This was in Spring Valley,
yeah.
right?
What
and,
that?
and no one ate it. No one ate it. And my mom is
You
so
know what's
sensitive, man.
wild though? Because like if you fast forward that, right? It was
Oh, they
embarrassing
love it.
as a kid, but
Yeah.
now
Oh, yeah.
it's popular.
Oh, they love it.
I mean, any event that I go to, like if we bring in food, I got
Red beans
pati,
and rice. Yeah,
I got red beans and rice.
exactly.
Anything we so
Or
now it's cool, right? It's cool to
or
be
ginger
Haitian.
rice. Yeah, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
funny because now it's popular now and everybody wants it. But back then, man, oh my gosh, I felt bad
yeah,
for my poor mom because
yeah,
like she was so, and she did it out of love too. And so,
yeah.
man, I stayed after school, man. I ate that whole rice,
Hey,
the pot, everything, man. I
hey,
came home sick. And she
cherish
was
it.
like, "How was it? How was it?" I was like, "Oh, mom, they loved it.
They
As you can see, mom, they cleaned the
lied,
bowl. You know,
lied.
yeah,
Yeah, let's dive into like careers because our I'm watching my time. So
of course,
do you think so now of course you're an adult,
yeah.
but did you run into any conflicts or challenges in your career expectations from your parents? We know all Haitians want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer.
Doctor of yes, a lawyer.
Because with me, when I started telling people that I wanted to go into television, or they was like, "Oh, it's ou point photo."
Yeah,
You
yes,
like who? Oh, for parties. And then
yeah,
it wasn't until like later on in the career, I literally made my mom, and she got it, but I literally made her this
yeah,
book, all the top things I shot,
yeah,
just so she can share it because her cousins was I ain't gonna name no names, was like,
yeah. Of course,
"He fait photo. All he
yeah,
does is photos. And then they was like, he shot Obama, he
yeah.
shot Al Sharpton. Like,
Exactly.
so then they was like, c'est journaliste, lui. You a
You
journalist.
wish you got
Yeah.
money. You
Yeah.
wish.
So did you ever run into those? I mean, especially like now, like you full creative, brother.
I want to say growing up,
Hmm.
like a few things. I try to be quick. So my parents always wanted me to be a lawyer, a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Because of course, you leave Haiti, you come to America, and then you see these professions, that's lucrative, right? And
Yeah.
so, but not knowing is this what your kid really wants, right?
Right.
And so I had a moment where I dealt with I think my parents, well, my dad being disappointed, and I experienced that at the same token, racism, right?
Hmm.
So, so I was at Columbia High School, and this teacher, Fee Blanc, right, and Mrs. Timothy,
Hmm.
and so I was struggling in math, right? I was horrible in math, right? And so after school, she was like, Lucian, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I just chose, I was like, engineer. And she was like, well, engineers have to be, like good at math, right?
Hmm.
So then she walks over to my desk. She grabs my hand, right? She's touching my hands, right?
Hmm.
And then I'm thinking, like she's like hitting on me, right? But she wasn't, right? And she's like, you see these strong hands? I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see these hands. And she's like, you could be, you could build monuments and buildings, you know. And she was like, you should be a construction worker.
Hmm.
So that you could show your kids, tell your kids, you built that monument, you built that bridge,
Right.
you know. So basically she was telling me that, all I could be is a construction worker. Shout out to construction
Wow.
workers, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I didn't know that until my dad told me because we had company. It was around Thanksgiving, and you
Yeah.
know how your parents like want to showcase you, pimp you,
Hmm.
and be like
Hmm.
dance or sing, right?
Yep.
In front of relatives, and so it was like Junior, Junior, tell them what you want to be. I was like, I want to be a construction worker, Dad. Then
That's what I
everybody was like, construction worker.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, yeah, I want to build bridges and monuments, with my
Yeah.
strong
When you see a
hands,
bridge and you drive over it, I did that.
bro. I was
Yeah.
mimicking everything that
Yeah.
homegirl had told me, and then he
Right.
sat me down. He was like, you don't realize that she's telling you
Yeah.
that all
Limit.
you can be and
Yep.
telling you your worth.
Yeah.
And so then, I realized, in terms of worth,
Hmm.
self-worth, and don't take ish from anybody.
Hmm.
Don't let
That's
anybody
right.
tell you what you cannot be.
Yeah.
And and so I'll segue into raising my kids,
Hmm.
right? So I started my business because I felt like a hypocrite telling my kids they could do anything they want, but yet I was fearful because fear is a mind killer,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You know, and so fear would tell you what you cannot do,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm like, all these years, I want to be a photographer, a
Right.
comedian, or this or that, you know, and here I am telling my kids, you should
Postures.
be. I'm yelling at them and telling them, you better get an A, you better push yourself,
Right.
but yet I'm 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 fearful of failing,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
and there's times where I get a phone call and a client might book and change their mind,
Yeah.
you know,
But you know what?
or
That's nothing but that purpose driven that's actually driving. I'm
exactly.
gonna tell you this from another creative. I've been in the game for 20 plus something years now.
Mm.
When I get a contract, I still get like weird.
Me too. I get
And it's
butterflies.
because I want to be perfect at what
Me
it is.
too. Me
You know what
too.
I'm
Me
saying?
too.
So
Me
it
too.
ain't what you doing is not anything terrible. But look, for
Yeah.
this last 2 minutes that we have,
Of course,
please
brother.
share with me, reflecting on your career and your journey, has your cultural background and upbringing shaped your sense of purpose, passion, in life? Share any gems or jewels that you learned along the way that you actually utilize today.
I mean, it definitely helped me, to push and persevere, and it's okay to fail. I wanna say definitely my cultural background definitely helped because growing up in a West Indian household, failure isn't an option, you know, and so I realized that my parents, they tried their best, and their role and goal was to create and produce and raise 4 kids, push them to be great, and then fast forward in life. I know you said don't say pledging, but that
It's
initiation
facts. Yeah.
process helped me, and graduating from an HBCU
Yeah.
helped mold and shape me.
Yeah.
So I think it's a culmination of both
Yeah.
a strict West Indian upbringing along with graduating from an HBCU because you just have that arrogance, like, yo, I graduated from an
Right.
HBCU. I'm not taking ish from anybody.
You
And so
know,
with that, I incorporate that into my kids as well.
yeah, thank
So
you for saying that, man. We live in a very interesting time now.
we do. I want to say
That's Go
thank
ahead.
you. I want to say thank you to you as well, in terms of like my business, because you was the one who dropped gems on me in terms of like, Lou, storytell. And
Yep.
that's what it really comes down to.
That's right.
storytelling. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I want to thank you, cuz I appreciate you for not being a gatekeeper and being unselfish with knowledge. Appreciate you, brother. Love you, fam.
Unselfish is our values, man. And I
Yes,
want to
sir.
thank you for taking time to come out on the show. Thank you for just expressing like your love and the passion of your work and what you do. Thank you for taking that dive into your purpose, bro. Like cuz
Yeah.
from cousin to cousin. Thank you for doing that because
Appreciate you.
you set the standard for other people knowing that they could jump in there. And thank you, man. We
Exactly.
such in a critical time and an understanding and knowing that HBCU grads could be anything that they want to be
Yes.
and pursue
Exactly.
dreams, you're living that model and you're living that creed.
I'm
So
trying
look,
my best, brother.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you sharing your Istwa and your
Yes,
story
sir.
with everybody on Storyteller Certified. Everybody tune in to Storyteller Certified. Our segment of Istwa is one of the most wonderful things that we do.
Yes,
Sharing
sir.
your passionate cultural stories with people in the world and inspiring them, educating them, empowering them to be who they are today. Thanks again, family.
All right, brother. Peace, fam.